There was once a wise and benevolent king who wished to share his love of reading with all the subjects in his realm, so he created a grand library with a copy of every book available in all the land, and to be his librarian, he found a wise and experienced school teacher to take care of all the acquired knowledge. One day, as the king was hearing requests from his subjects, a carpenter lamented to the king that he went to the library and found a story that he thought was horribly offensive. The king, being a kind and just monarch, did not wish to offend his subjects, and thus the king ordered the librarian to remove the book from his library, and the carpenter went on his merry way. Next, a banker complained to the king of yet another offensive book. The king, wishing to be fair and responsive to all his people, quickly ordered his librarian to remove the second offensive book, and the banker went on his merry way. In the days that followed, more subjects came to the king to report more books that offended them. A seamstress, a chef, a doctor, a barber, one after another came to the king to report books they found offensive, and one by one the king went to the librarian to ask her to remove them from the shelves. One day, the king went to his library to search for a story he had yet to read, but alas, there was not one book left there. Frantic, the king went to the librarian and asked her what happened. She replied that each and every book in the great king's library had offended at least one subject in the kingdom, and so they had all been removed. Heartbroken, the king asked the librarian what she did with all the books that had been removed. The librarian then led the king down a flight of stairs in the back of the library, deep down into the lower levels of the castle, dungeons that once had held many prisoners. However, the king, being a kind and just leader, had made it his mission to clear the dungeons by educating and reforming the prisoners. So successful was this approach that these dungeons had been vacant for years and had been all but forgotten. In these dank cells were now stacks upon stacks of the droves of books the librarian had removed from the library to avoid offending anyone. The king, elated to see his books again, vowed to return every single book to the shelves of his library and keep them there forevermore, regardless of who they offended.